Dr. Robert Berghorn here, physical therapist and owner of Ascent Physical Therapy here on Long Island, New York, bringing you another episode of Tactical Tuesday, the first of 2022. I hope everybody has had a great year. I only got back from Europe about a week and a half ago. So I hope everybody had a great Christmas, had a great holidays, had a great new start to the new year. Last week was a little bit crazy and a little bit hectic, so I did not get on here in order to give you your weekly dose of education and a little insight into what I'm seeing in the community, and also a little bit of tidbits on things that I like to do with my clients. So here it is, the first one of the new year. Today we're going to be talking about keeping things interesting in the winter months when we are training, whether that is for running, cycling, swimming, or anything in between, especially for those who are in the endurance athlete community. But if you're someone who is just starting to work out again, doing something that's fun and interesting is always something that is important to do in order for you to make sure that you stay on point and make sure that you are able to continue to perform at your best and also work towards your goals for the new year. So let's get into it. I'm going to talk a little bit about things that I'm doing, things that I've seen other people do, and also things that you can potentially do yourself, whether that's at the gym, in the comfort of your own home, or somewhere of your choosing, even if it's in your office, because people are starting to go back to their offices now and nobody else is in the office, or they're splitting time. So if you have time in your office, you can do it there too. So what we're going to talk about there, and then we're also going to talk about a little bit of safety tips for when you are outside running in the cold, or anybody who is doing any workouts out in the cold. So if you do have any comments, if you do have any questions, if you do have anything that you'd like to add, please throw that down in the comments. If there's any specific workouts that you like to do that are specific to what makes you feel like it's interesting to you, please also throw that down in the comments. The more you share, the more people get ideas and the more things that people have in their repertoire. So if you're dealing with that factor of, you don't want to go on the treadmill, you don't want to run outside, you don't necessarily want to go on Zwift because you've been on Zwift all week last week, or you don't want to go on Peloton, you're kind of run through all the classes and you're finding your regular class is okay, but at the same time you want to do something a little different. What do you do? I posted yesterday on Facebook and also Instagram that I got one workout I like to do is more of an interval workout. It's a shuttle run followed by some strength exercises. It not only helps you get your strength component in that we should be working on at this point in the training season and making sure that we're filling in all the gaps and holes in our performance from the previous year, but we're also working towards improving the performance that we're having in our cardiovascular system as well, making sure that we're staying fit, making sure that we're staying healthy as we go through these winter months, whether we let ourselves go a little bit, and that's completely okay during the holiday season, or if we have not been training because we just haven't had the motivation, getting started and doing something that is potentially fun is always going to be helpful. So if you're someone who, like me, who one, doesn't like to go outside and run in the cold, and two, my body doesn't like it when I run outside of the cold, this may be something for you. So basically, it doesn't have to be anything too crazy. Do a shuttle run that could be across a dance room that's in your gym, across your house. It could be directly something that is running in place too. So if you want to do high knees for a certain period of time, for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, you can do that as well. And then break into a small strength exercise in between, and then go back and do that interval again, come back, do another exercise. I like to do that. It's something that does work my aerobic system, especially as I get tired throughout the workout. It's something that initially works my anaerobic system, so it works a little bit my speed because it is a more higher intensity workout. It's not something you do at a lower speed of run when you're doing that shuttle run. It is it is intense. It requires you to stop. It requires you to start. So it takes a little bit more energy. So you do have that little bit of a speed workout component to it. And at the same time, it does keep things a little bit interesting because you can always change up the exercise regardless how many times you're running during those shuttles, or how many times that you are lifting any kind of weight, or you're doing any specific kind of exercise. And you can change it up, make it fun, make it interesting. You can make a game out of it with your teammates. You can make a game out of it with your family, your friends, whatever it is, make it fun. That is the component of this part of the year, trying to keep everything interesting, keeping things good, but at the same time finding something crossover from what we're already doing, running, biking, swimming, whatever it is, so that we not only get a mental break, but we get that physical break as well. One other thing I like to do is I do like to do boot camp style workouts or HIIT interval workouts where I'm still working my cardiovascular system, and at the same time I'm doing my strength component as well. It's not something that I always do, but it is something that, when it's those days where it's icy out, or if it's snowy out, or if it's raining out, or if it's just a day that that it's miserable outside and I don't want to do it, I'll go and I'll do these workouts because I'll still get the same feeling that I'll get when I do go out for a run. But at the same time, it's a shorter workout. It's a more intense workout, but a little bit more beneficial. So if you guys have any specific workouts that you guys like to do, please throw them down in the comments, especially ones that are different and interesting, that are just outside of the norm of just going on the Peloton, the Zwift, running on the treadmill, going on the elliptical, whatever it is. Throw it down in the comments. Let me know what you guys are up to, what you guys are doing. And now we can get into the next part of our topic tonight, and that is making sure you guys are staying safe out there when you are running. This past weekend was very cold. I was out there myself when I was out at the Blue Point Brewery run, the 10-mile run. Congratulations to all the winners out there who did get out there, who did compete at a high level. And you guys are amazing for the times that you guys put up. I give you guys a lot of credit for being out there, and that frigid temperatures below zero, running 10 miles and heading to the brewery so you can have a drink with some friends and buddies afterwards. It was a great event. I had a great time speaking with some of you out there, and I look forward to hopefully doing it again next year. So let's go through some of these, and we'll kind of talk about them individually. So when you are going outside and it is cold outside and it is something that the weather is not so great, make sure you're doing an extended warm up. We want this warm up to be something that's better than what we're already doing. And most people, they'll either get home from work or they'll wake up in the morning, they'll just go out and start running. Make sure you're doing a little bit of a workout, especially if you're getting up from your desk chair at work, or if you're waking up first thing in the morning and then just going out for a run. Our muscles need to get woken up. We need to make sure that our nervous system is upregulated enough for that we have the appropriate form and the appropriate movement performance. And we also need to make sure that we are bringing up our heart rate slower and more gradual, especially during the winter months, in order to prevent strain from having that effect on our body and our system. This warm-up also allows our tendons to get warmer a little bit slower and a little bit better, so we have less tendon issues. So this is definitely something to take into importance. Number two, doing some sport-specific drills. It can be something simple as doing high knees. It can be something like A skips. It can be B skips. It can be C skips. It could be doing some 90-90 hip rotations. It could be anything specific that is required of the workout you're planning to do. Make sure that it is something that is going to be appropriate for how long you're going to be doing your work, and also something that is appropriate for the type of work you're going to be doing. So if you're doing more high intensity, high speed activities, doing some jumps beforehand may be better. If you are doing something that is a little bit more on the slower side, if you're doing a long run, if you're doing a easier to moderate run, make it something that is nice and easy and gradual so that you can build into it. Make sure you're covering your mouth. I mean, that's always something that's important. It's not only important just because you don't want the cold air to come in. We want to be able that air to circulate within, behind any of that mouth covering, whether it is a neck gaiter, or if it's a winter covering, or if it's a face mask for snowboarding, whatever it is that you use in order to make sure that your mouth stays covered while you are running outside in that cold weather. We want to make sure that warm air gets into our lungs instead of cold air. So on top of that, trying to make sure that you are breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth is more important, just because the nares, or the concha, or basically the ridges inside of our nose, allow for turbulence within our breathing apparatus and allows us to have warmer air reach our lungs, prevents irritation of the trachea, prevents that cold winter cough that some people get, especially me. When I get out there and I run in the cold for too long, I will get that. So I know I need to make sure that I'm on top of that. So make sure that you're on top of it as well. I mentioned breathing appropriately, and let's go into form and safety over performance. We always want to make sure that we're safe and we're staying on top of our form. this is the winter. We do want to make sure that we are healthy for when we start racing again in the summertime and the springtime. So taking priority of form and safety is important at this point in time, especially when it's icy out, especially when there's black ice and you're not sure. Making sure that your feet are landing underneath you instead of in front of you or behind you. In some cases, if you take a misstep, we want to make sure that our feet are landing underneath us, because the more that our feet reach within our center of gravity, which is around our pelvis or our hips, the less likely we're going to slip, the less likely we're going to fall. And at the same time, we do have to work on form at this point, because even if we are slowing down our performance, maintaining a performance ratio of about 50% of our maximal performance is still enough in order for us to maintain the appropriate endurance, to maintain the appropriate fitness that we have built up over the past season. And this is the time when it's really cold. In order to maintain our fitness, we want to maintain it right now. We don't necessarily want to improve. As we get approaching the warmer months, then we can start working on more on the speed, the performance, the improvement of our times. And a couple of the last ones that we have here is we want to make sure we're laying appropriately. So whether it's too cold or not cold enough, we want to make sure that we have the appropriate layers on. There has been a few guides out there where, below zero, you want to have a couple layers underneath your shirt. You want to have a couple layers underneath your leg, where you have a base layer, you have another pants layer. Sometimes I put shorts underneath as well in order to keep my upper legs a little bit warmer. And the same thing with my torso. I always have to have like 2 or 3 layers up top. Make sure you have the right gloves. Make sure you have the right face mask and the right headgear in order to make sure that you stay warm throughout your runs. And most importantly, and the things that some people forget, is to stay hydrated. Whether you have enough layers and you're just not sweating enough, you're still losing water throughout your runs. This is very important during the winter months. It helps not only prevent issues with maintaining performance, where you can still develop cramps, you can still develop issues as far as muscle performance or an overall performance with your runs itself, but also you could have a higher risk of hypothermia when you are dehydrated. So making sure that you are staying hydrated out there is most important in order for you to continue to perform as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment them down below. Whether you're still live with me here, or if you are watching this on the replay. So please feel free to comment below. If you have any questions about anything I spoke about tonight, please feel free to use the number that's above, use the email, or visit my website in order to find out more. I hope you guys have a great night. I will see you guys next week on Tactical Tuesday. Have a great night, everybody.